Good evening. We'll get tonight's meeting of the Scranton City Planning Commission to order. First item of business is approval of our minutes from, this would be the November meeting since our December meeting was canceled. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review those. Do we have a motion to accept? We can do roll call. Don, do you want to do roll call before we jump into the approval for this?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Mr. Fahey?
Here.
Ms. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Mr. Enten? Joe? Nope.
Joe's not here tonight.
No. Jonathan?
Jonathan,
Jonathan's not
Jonathan's
here.
term ended.
Yep.
Ryan's here tonight.
Yeah, Mr. Flanagan. And Mr. Chairman.
Here. Thank you. Now on to the minutes. Everybody should have a copy. All right, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from our November 19th meeting? I'll make the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All righty, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, Don, I'm going to go ahead and we'll move the general commission business to the end of the agenda so we can get into some of the old business, the projects. So item B is going to be review of the preliminary final land development plan for apartment building construction at 448 West Market Street in an end zone. And I believe we have Mary Lou Butler here tonight to speak on that project, so you can come up. Mary Lou, would you, sorry, it might be a little bit of a hassle, but if you could speak in there, just because it's being recorded, and that way we'll make sure everybody else
I'm
can.
Mary Butler. I'm an engineer with ESC Design, working on the 448 West Market Street apartment
Land development.
All right, great. Yeah, anything you want to tell us about the project? I know we did have a chance to take a look at it at our last meeting. Anything you want to comment on or share before we discuss?
Well, they're proposing to build a 6-unit apartment building, one of them being a type A apartment. We have a parking lot with 6 spaces in it according to the ordinance. We did receive our PennDOT highway occupancy permit for the driveway. There's a 20-foot driveway that is proposed. We did get our clearance from PennDOT Bureau of Aviation, and we also received our adequacy letter from the Lackawanna County Soil Conservation Service.
All right, great. Don, Casey, any updates from you?
No, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, we've reviewed this by letter one time, and we received a response on last week, which we've started to go through. And as Mary Lou mentioned, they've gone through and submitted a number of the outstanding items like the DOT permit, Conservation District approval. They're working on a couple different comments, one related to stormwater, and they also have the componentry of the sewage planning, which we need to review and have the city take action on and return to them so they can submit to DEP for review and approval. There's a number of waivers, 3, I think.
I believe so.
So they'll require Planning Commission action, and we can go through each of those and talk about them. Other than that, there's like they mentioned, six apartments, and Similar to an application we received recently, there are 6 parking spaces. The ordinance requires 1 per apartment. These are 2-bedroom apartments. So there's 1 space per apartment, and there's 1 required ADA space. So they meet the code. I just want to bring that up because I think it creates a situation where that's a limited parking situation. But, you know, it allows 1 car, and that's certainly something that the owner and the developer will have to take on or market that way. But I just want to bring that up, and there is not on-street parking on that part of West Market Street. So this.
Okay.
And one more, and just going through the review, we did ask a question, just a clarification. There's a trash enclosure that's between the parking lot and the proposed structure, and we just wanted to understand how that functioned, whether they were going to rely on municipal collection, curbside, or if there would in fact be a dumpster there.
I think what they're thinking now is to use trash cans and then take them out to the street.
Okay.
That's what I've been told
Okay.
by the owner.
I believe once you get over 5 units, they're required to have commercial pickup rather than city pickup.
Okay.
Yep, and that's fine. The concern is, if you look at the plan, is that would require, you know, the trucks typically to unload those dumpsters will come in, you know, they have to be head first to lift them up and dump them, and then it would have to back out onto West Market Street. So they did receive their PennDOT permit, and PennDOT would be aware of that. They've seen the plans, and they've permitted this as a minimum use driveway.
Is there a lighting plan?
We made a comment about the lighting plan. They responded that the lights would be all be wall mounted. So we did want a clarification just to show some photometrics so we could see what that looks like.
Okay.
You know, there's a tight site, and there are no setbacks, I think, no side setbacks in this residential district. So it's pretty tight to the property lines. So.
And will you reply with another letter to answer? Okay.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
That's,
I'll get
following
that.
this meeting, we'll incorporate those items into the letter.
Mary Lou, how about the comment about the parking? I realize the number of spaces meet the zoning requirements. Is there any concern from the developer about having sufficient parking there?
I haven't been told any. We meet the code, and I know that they're planning on making one of the apartments a type A for that handicap accessible spot. So,
Okay.
Yeah, the county planning, they responded to county planning comments as well, and that came up in regard to the total number of spaces, with one being exclusively for accessibility, and the response was there would be a type A apartment.
Okay. Questions from Planning Commission members?
Is a crosswalk required at the driveway, Casey?
A crosswalk across the driveway?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's going to have to be open for pedestrian.
Right.
They're going to have to be able to cross that. I haven't looked at.
Not painted, not by DOT requirements, since
Okay.
they have jurisdiction. They did have sidewalks. One comment I was going to make in a follow-up was that just to continue to replace the sidewalks across the entire frontage, unless, you know, it's hard to tell. I think that there's an old bituminous walk there
Yes.
that they're tying into. I don't know. You know.
right, I think we showed for the PennDOT permit 10 feet on the one side and then to the property line on the north side. I don't see a problem with extending it to the other property line, the sidewalk, the new concrete sidewalk. So we'll take care of that on the plans.
And those would have curb ramps as well at the driveway, ADA curb ramps?
They just have to be depressed, I believe. And there's a comment, there's a detail on there that we provided to PennDOT on the plans.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, I realize, you know, it's not the largest lot. Was there any consideration about putting the building in front, closer to Market Street, and the parking behind? I realize it might be a little difficult to get the drive back there, but
Yeah, I think because we need to put a small wall in there now, we'd probably have to extend it all the way down the property in certain spots. So this is where the owner had determined they wanted to put the building. So we designed around the civil site work around that.
Okay. All right. Other questions from anyone? So Casey, at this point, would you recommend approval, or there's still enough kind of outstanding comments that we should take another look at this?
I think it's ready for a conditional approval. The remaining comments are minor, and also the waivers, if we'd like to have consideration of those as well tonight.
Yep. Yeah, if you can go through the waivers for us, that'd be great.
Okay, sure. They provided a waiver request letter, and I think we need to add one that wasn't in there, and that's the last one. So the first one is for the plan scale. This comes up on almost every application, so their plan scale is suitable for the size of the development. The second is for the improvements guarantee. Again, one that comes up is a common request. There's no public improvements here. It's a small private development, so we have no objection to waiving that requirement. And the last one would be from the minimum stormwater pipe. The requirement is 15 inches, and they've demonstrated that they have the connection from their inlet to their subsurface detention system is suitable. Through calculations, they've shown that that conveyance is adequate. So we don't object to that.
Do we know what the actual number is?
For the section?
Yeah, well, we said
Oh, I'm sorry. The 6 inch, from 15 to 6
15
inch.
inch to
Yeah.
6 inch.
Those are all the waivers?
I think so. Mary Lou, does that sound right?
believe so. That's
yeah.
correct.
I don't have the letter.
I don't think I provided a letter on the pipe. I will get you one.
Right, that was just one that came
I'll
up,
get you
so I
one.
just wanted to make sure that got covered.
No problem.
Okay. Anyone here for public comment on this project tonight? All right. Then if there aren't any more questions, we'll begin with approval of the waivers. So first, we'd be looking for a motion on the waiver for the plan scale.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the second waiver, looking for a motion on the waiver on the improvements guarantee. We have a motion?
So moved. Yeah.
All right, we have a
Second.
motion. Second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Second waiver is passed, and the third and final waivers on the minimum size for the stormwater pipe. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thanks, Gus.
I'll
Second from Jen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so all three waivers have been approved. Now we'll take a motion on conditional approval on the project. Obviously, you have those waivers and addressing the additional comments that Casey had just went through. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All righty. The motion is second.
Who was the
Let's do,
second?
Lead me off next.
Jen. Got it.
Mr. Fahey,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. All righty. Well,
Motion
thanks,
Thank you
carries
very
5-0.
much.
thanks, Mary Lou. Okay, item C under old business is actually a project that we had provided conditional approval for already, but Bob's here tonight. Just wanted to offer a little bit of an update, and I think he had a question as well, so go ahead, Bob.
Appreciate your time. Yeah, Bob Negley, I'm here for the land development and for Kaiser Avenue North End Electric. We did receive conditional approval, I believe, and talked with Mr. Colley tonight, that we have addressed all the substantive comments that are not outside agency. We're still waiting for DEP sewage planning. I was on the phone with them on Friday. They asked for a little bit more data. We gave it to them. Hopefully that ends this saga, but that's our longest rope in this project. It's just taken forever to get DEP to issue sewage planning with the component 3 sewage planning module. The other outstanding issue is the fire chief. We had emailed plans to John Judge and asked him to review them. He sent them off to, I believe his name is George Boyce, within the fire department. Hadn't heard anything back from them yet. Just wanted to bring it to the commission's attention. If there's anything that the city can do to try to usher this along. We've reached out a couple times, just trying to get a little movement. I don't want to seem like I'm pressing anybody, of course, but it's kind of the last thing. Not that there's much there. There is a hydrant on site, but we just want confirmation that he's looked at it. If there's any concerns, we'll try to address them, of course. So if there's anything that the city can do, I'd appreciate it, just to try to get this final hurdle passed, and then we should be done. So that's really it. Just wanted to come in and really was to hear from Casey to make sure we were thumbs up more than anything. So if there's any questions, I'll entertain them. If not, I'll get out of your way and keep you guys moving.
No, we appreciate it. Don, is it something you can follow up with the fire chief on?
Yeah, I'll talk to George.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We did send a couple emails, but again, I don't like harassing people. It seems, I don't like people doing it to me when I haven't responded to something yet either. So I understand, but
Yeah.
if there's anything we can do to get that resolved, I'd appreciate it. Okay.
All right. Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
do what we can to help. Thanks. Appreciate it, Bob. All right. On to item D, old business, review of preliminary final land development plan for the Copacabana Glamping Complex, Morgan Highway. Do we have somebody here on that project? Coming up, you can introduce yourself at the microphone, and
Do we sign in somewhere, or?
I don't think we need to sign in, but
Okay. So I'm kind of filling in for somebody else in our office. So my name is Dennis Kutch with KBA Engineering. We have a bunch of comments, and I haven't had a chance to review those, or our staff hasn't. So we anticipate in doing that. I think a lot of them are on the stormwater management, so we'll take a look at that and get back to Don and your engineer, and see if we can, respond to those questions. There's two items that I'm not sure if they're a problem, but just wanted some clarification on the number of camps or number of tents. We show 26. I don't have a board with all that. You have that? You guys have that. There's 26 tents on that site, and there was some letter that Lewis received that's about the number of campsites, and it says on this letter dated August 2nd, 2021, something about 20 campsites. And Lewis made an inquiry about that, and I believe it was, I guess you better say what it said, because I don't have it.
Yeah, I guess I didn't, the terminology probably was misunderstood, because when I first talked to Don, I didn't know like one site would be one tent. In my mind, I would have 20 sites with 3 tents each site. And I asked him for cabins and what else, a barn, a home eventually. And RVs, which is denied, but I can understand why, because the place is not safe to come in and out. But, yeah, we are wondering if we're gonna have to stick with 20 tents, or what, I don't know if Don, what was ever recorded at the time. when we
I have to go
rezoned.
back and look at the minutes from the zoning meeting,
Okay.
and maybe we just lost a little something in the
I
translation.
remember at the time you mentioned something about 85 sites, which include the cabins and the RVs. But of course, 15 sites from the RVs were out because it was not
Yeah.
approved for RVs.
Yeah, we could clarify that.
Okay.
There's one other item, and I guess it pertains to access to the site. The first 60 or 70 feet or whatever off of the Morgan Highway is owned by PP&L. And PP&L runs their power lines through his property. So PP&L had to be the applicant for the driveway permit. And PP&L has agreed to do that. I guess there's a question, and I don't know, it may have come from your attorneys about, it seems like the access over to PP&L property is in the name of Shea Industries, which is the previous owner of the land that Lewis now owns. So I don't know if that's some kind of a paperwork that needs to be resolved, or,
I have a feeling that I was transferred to me once we transferred the land with a separate paper. I have to double check my computer because I just came to know on the way here when Dennis called me. So I'm
is
like-
that actually an issue that there has to be an instrument?
There should be an easement for Lewis to cross that property. And if it's already in place from the prior owner, that's something we could look
And
at.
just
We-
provide the
we have-
documentation. If you have the easement and it's transferred with the land,
Yeah. We
I think we didn't have the deeds, maybe?
PP&L agrees because they are already applying for us for the highway occupancy. They are in the process of doing it. If it was an issue, I guess they would not accept under the former name.
I guess PennDOT didn't have an issue with it, at least they haven't raised that issue. So I'm just assuming, and we could certainly research that, but I'm assuming that there was always an easement there from the Morgan Highway onto the Shea property. So when he purchased the property, I'm assuming that easement went with it.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I haven't seen an instrument that says, it's,
Yeah, and neither have we. So that's, I mean, we don't want to approve your project and then have someone, PP&L, come back and say, well, you can't cross our land to get to
no,
it.
absolutely, I understand.
Yeah, we can work on that if it's
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, and
that we
I don't know that you need to do anything more. I think one of the comments we made early on is that the response said the deed was included and maybe it didn't come through. So just make sure we have the appropriate recorded materials that go with the property, because that will be pretty evident once we look at that. I think maybe they weren't submitted,
Okay.
just to make, okay.
And on the comments, Casey, that came back, we haven't had a chance to review those yet. So,
Understood.
I mean, we may have some questions, so I guess Tony would get in touch with you.
Yeah, and I talked to Tony earlier.
Yeah, because I don't, it looks like, I mean, I started reading through them. Some of these, I need to collaborate with some of the other people in our office.
Yeah, I
So-
think just the overall, the comments are really related to the access is difficult, and you're running straight up the hill. So you have some very steep slopes that exceed 20%. And then how the individual sites, whether it be the wedding venue or there's some parking areas, and how they're sloped and then how they lay out need to be looked at. And then the stormwater, there's a basin that's cut in, and I believe it's predominantly rock up there. So we just want to see that functions appropriately, or that you're providing the appropriate BMP for the actual conditions. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I mean, we do have, I know that there was an issue about the retaining walls, and we didn't do, and I don't know if that's still a question. We didn't design the retaining walls, I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna need, whether we can use some of the boulders that we pick up on that site for maybe retaining walls that are 2 or 3 feet of retained backfill. So I checked with NEIC, they said that they would review those walls when we.
Yeah, and typically, yeah, you demonstrate where they're at and give us some idea of the height, and then the actual structural design, if they're needed, if they exceed 4 feet in any case, would be required to be submitted to the city and approved as part of, designed by a structural engineer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we'll do that and stamp and seal those.
Sure, yeah, that's not necessary as part of this
Right.
entitlement, right?
And one of the other things, and just a comment, we're trying to find some flat spaces. So we have the main venue, which is the big tent. And, that tent is there just for inclement weather when not a good day to have a party or a wedding. But, so most of the time they're gonna be outside. So we try to create a flat spot to one side of that tent. And I'm sure we're gonna hit rock. So instead of being one level outside that tent, it might be 2 levels.
Understood.
We did some test pits there, but the rock's all over the place.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're gonna get. So, I mean, if that's gonna change, I assume that even if the project's approved and we start working on that, and we have to make some slight changes so that, you can save, excavation of 1,000 cubic yards of rock, I guess we would bring that back in just to let it be a part of the record.
Yeah, if it was a substantial change to the plan.
I don't think the
deviates, yeah.
stormwater would change, but I mean,
Right.
certainly there might be 2 levels where they go out in the air and.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem in as much as it's controlled by it's still controlled by the site stormwater.
Right.
That you're not running off-site or otherwise creating an issue or making an issue where there wasn't one before, so.
Okay. So, we'll look at those comments and get back in touch with you
Okay.
and respond to them. So, if we got them in, I guess you would have comments back to us on them if we get them to you 10 days before the next meeting?
Yeah, just have Tony contact me. We can be flexible on that.
Okay.
Just make sure you have your outside agency, your application sent out. You're going to need county planning. You need an MPDS on this, so you'll need that in hand. Sewage planning, I think you heard the previous applicant say that's taking quite a bit of time. It has to be a component 3. There are no exemptions in the city right now.
I'm sorry.
A component 3 sewage planning? Yeah, you'll have to submit that, and that's been taking a long time on the DEP end. The city will file it fairly quickly, and you have to submit to DEP, so that's something to note. You want to do that right away.
Okay. You have anything?
No.
I guess that's it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Do we, any questions from any of the planning commission members tonight? It sounds like we're not ready to vote to approve this, but if anybody has any questions?
I don't have to go back and look at it.
Just one question about the tent. So is that going to be a permanent structure, or is that just an area where you would put up a tent if you needed one?
No, for the accommodations, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna put like a platform, wood platform, and we stay on it. And we might have to leave them all year round because it's very hard to take them out because they are big and heavy. So
That's the camping tents themselves that you're talking about? Or the glamping tents? I was talking about the wedding venue tent.
Yeah.
Oh, now I guess there is a rule that we have to take that one out, right? Not to become
I
a
don't know.
permanent structure.
There's only, I think there's.
That's 180
three
days?
permanent structures. There's a welcome center. There's a restroom facilities with showers for the,
Campers.
for those tents that don't have water and a bathroom. And then there's another room up by the tent, by the large venue tent, that has bathroom facilities and also has a warming kitchen for, catering that brings in the food. Those are the 3 permanent structures ultimately that he would like to build. And then the rest of them are these tents, whether they stay up all year long, or some of the tents are full service, 6 of them, full service in terms of power, water, sewage, that kind of thing. I don't think those need permits, building permits. So we already have the 3 buildings for the group shower and toilets, the welcome center and the warming kitchen, and dedicated bathroom facilities for the main venue tent.
Okay. Don, I think this project's at the 90-day mark too, correct? Do we have did you talk to them about an extension yet?
Yeah, I'll talk to Tony, but I think we're going to need an extension on our 90-day review period. We're probably, if we're not over it now, we're getting close to it.
I think we took this in October, for the October meeting.
Yeah.
Sorry?
October meeting, I believe. Our first letter was the middle of October. We reviewed it.
Okay,
So I don't remember if we met in October or not, but
right. So we'd be at 90 days now then?
Yeah, be
Yeah.
at 90 days now.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, as long as you're comfortable with that, we can get the extension from you and then take the time you need to address some of the comments that Casey had, and you're ready to review again next month, we can do that.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate you coming. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, on to our new business. Was anybody here for public comment on that project? I think everybody else here is representing developers. So item A under new business is review of land development plan for Finish Line Auto Body, 749 North Kaiser Avenue. I believe we have Dave, we have a couple of folks here tonight on that one. Come on up, you can introduce yourself and share a little bit about the project. Thanks, we have copies of the plans too, so.
I have actually just some, because I know I sent John a copy of the sketch, but I just want to make sure everyone has the latest existing features and,
Okay,
if that's all right.
yeah, of course.
I also have my business card attached there, maybe the, contact so if anyone has any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my name is Artie Kulba. I am a civil designer and project manager with Design BLD. We're an engineering firm out of Exeter. I'm here tonight with Dave Johns. He's a licensed engineer from our office as well. And we're here representing our client, Finish Line Auto Body of Scranton, who's proposing a new auto body garage on the corner of Kaiser Ave and Hudson Flume. And just a little bit of background on the project. I know some concepts were passed around and sent to Don and Casey that ultimately determined we will need to submit for land development for this project. And I think our goal here tonight is just to kind of informally present the existing features and sketch plan of the site before the Planning Commission so everyone's familiar with the project while we work on official land development plans. So on the board in front of you guys now and on the first sheet of the handout is the existing features of the site. You'll see it's at the corner of Kaiser Avenue and Hudson Flume, and highlighted in pink on the board is the subject property boundary. And I just want to point out too that just above that on the plan is the existing Finish Line Auto Body of Scranton garage. They have access off of Hudson Flume as well. highlighted in yellow on the plan in front of you is, or not in front of you, but on the board, is the existing impervious on the site. There's some concrete and paved, but the site is otherwise vacant. It's about half an acre in size, and it has access via both Kaiser Avenue and Hudson Flume. And it's in a commercial industrial zoning district. So this is on page 2 of the handout. What our client is proposing is a 4,920 square foot auto body garage that will accompany their existing garage just above them on the site there. You'll notice highlighted on the plan in the same pink is the property boundary. The new building is highlighted in orange, and paved repair areas are highlighted in yellow. There's a small increase in total impervious on the site due to just there already being existing pave and concrete, so a lot of that's being replaced by the building, and then the rest is pave improvements and parking striping. What we're showing on the plan now is 57% impervious coverage, which is within the allowable 60% for a CI zoned lot. And we're showing 20 parking spaces, which meets the zoning requirement of the site. We're also proposing, highlighted in green on the board there, a landscaping buffer or planters that will restrict access off of Kaiser Avenue, so all traffic will come in off of Hudson Flume. We feel that will just be best for the safety instead of having that sort of open access off of Kaiser Avenue. As far as other permits that we know we're going to require, building permit from the City of Scranton, ENS approval from the Lackawanna Conservation District, zoning approval from the City of Scranton, land development review by Lackawanna Planning Commission, and Act 537 by PADEP, which you guys have already talked about tonight. We understand that that's a long lead time. We work pretty frequent with DEP and have some good contacts there, so we're hopeful it won't be too much of a holdup, but we are working on that now. So that's everything I have for you guys tonight. If anyone has any questions, otherwise we will plan to submit to Casey and you guys to be on the agenda for next month's meeting and have a formal land development presentation.
All right, thank you. Questions from anyone on the Planning Commission?
The areas on the plan showing the improvements, the areas that are marked existing pave on the plan for the new building, will that pave be removed and replaced with something else?
Those areas of existing pave are either going to be proposed to remain, while the improvement areas are going to kind of lay out a nice defined parking lot, or these existing pave areas may be removed and just replaced with the grass area.
Okay, because if they remain, then that stays as impervious coverage, correct?
Yes, and
Yeah.
actually, right now, that 57% does contemplate that remaining as existing pave.
Okay. Then I guess I'm unclear on what areas would be pervious if that pave remains.
So the existing impervious area, or I'm sorry, the proposed impervious areas are going to include the new building,
Yeah,
all the new pavement, and then this existing pave potentially trimming as well.
right. So what areas would be pervious if?
Oh, I'm sorry, impervious.
Yes, sorry.
I believe the rest of the site is mostly kind of dirt and grass cover.
Okay,
Maybe some gravel. These are the defined impervious areas on the existing sheet. So everything outside of the scale boundary is going to be assumed to remain impervious coverage.
okay, thank you.
Do you have a question, Gus?
Is that a sidewalk as part of the existing, that little, sort of little, there's this little strip there? Yeah.
This here,
No, on Kaiser Avenue.
on Kaiser Ave, I looked at it on street view. I don't believe there are any existing sidewalks there. I think that's sort of just a wider curb. along the front of the
A curb.
property. I couldn't find any existing sidewalks along this whole stretch here.
Don, when it comes to sidewalks, I realize there aren't sidewalks on this area of Kaiser Ave. Is that something that is required or not required?
I think the ordinance requires them, but in this case, it might be worth their while to ask for a waiver on that.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, there'd be a sidewalk coming from nowhere, going to nowhere.
Okay.
And I'm sure this will come out in, I guess, the zoning review or the land development review. Would that be a zoning variance or just a waiver of the saldo for the sidewalks?
That's saldo.
That's saldo? Okay, very good.
Yeah, it's required.
Yeah, and we have been requiring it.
We have been, yeah. And so it's written that it's required unless the applicant proves to the satisfaction of the planning commission that they would not be necessary for safe pedestrian movements.
Yeah, I think we would like to see the surrounding area and, what that looks like.
Yeah, we could absolutely present that. Is it common if there aren't existing sidewalks or it's not really conducive to existing sidewalks that a waiver would be agreeable?
I think we'd have to evaluate it on a case-by-case
Totally
situation, but we generally have been requiring the sidewalks, because that way, future development,
Sure.
right, it
Sure. Yeah.
makes for a
Already makes sense.
contiguous pedestrian access eventually.
Artie, this came up on another project too, and this is good that we're having this conversation early, because in this particular case, similar to that application, they are in the state highway. So that brings a PennDOT permit into play likely. I mean, it's sidewalks, not a driveway, and ultimately, perhaps they would prefer not to have them. It's hard, I can't say for them, but I wanted to bring that up. It's something we probably want to figure out pretty quickly for your application.
I appreciate that. That makes sense. Because I'm sure, as you guys are aware, any PennDOT reviews usually extend the project timeline a decent amount. And
And I think, talking to Gomer, I think there is an HOP in place already for this parcel.
Are there driveways? Yeah, is that?
Well, they're not showing any driveways.
They're not
out
using
there.
them, yeah.
They're not using them, but prior to that, there was an HOP
Okay.
approved for that.
Oh, okay.
Just to go back to where you see the gaps in this existing curb, there was a previously approved HOP for access from Kaiser Ave onto the site.
Okay.
We're proposing putting planters there, having access just be off of Hudson. Planters will maintain that would restrict access.
Okay. And Casey and Don, what is the requirement for trees for a site of it like this?
One for every 3,000 square feet.
As a buffer or as a?
In the plan, or not in the, just for shade.
In the parking area? I don't know offhand. I have
Okay.
the bulk standards here, but it doesn't talk about trees.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't read that, but.
Yeah. We'll look at that as part of the landscaping when we review the full submission.
Yeah, no, then I understand this is just very conceptual at this point. Thank you.
One thing I did forget to mention is that for the small increase in impervious, we will be proposing either an infiltration trench or a dry well for rainfall management. I don't know whether it will be at the front corner of the site, is what we're anticipating. But again, that will be all flushed out on the plans we'll submit.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
That sounds good.
All right, so tonight we'll vote to accept the plans for review?
No, this is just a sketch.
Just a sketch plan?
Just sketch, yeah.
They haven't submitted.
Okay,
their-
so we'll wait for
Yeah, wait for.
more formal submission. that way.
Actually, I do
Accept those.
have one other question. So, right, the parking is up against the building. How would the cars come in and out of the facility
So the cars would access
into the building?
into the garage itself.
Correct.
So there are going to be overhead garage doors along the front here. We're going to show it striped out as potential parking if required. We anticipate that the owners will be able to accommodate parking for customers outside of that. And I believe it's pretty common that auto service garages will allow people to park temporarily in front of the overhead doors while cars are being brought in.
Okay.
But if that would be an issue on meeting the parking owners, we will adjust the plans, and that's what we're understanding.
Okay.
All right, anything else? All right, great,
all.
we
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
We asked about next month, submitting the copy to
Okay, thank you. Yep.
Next up, under new business, item B, review of sketch plan for proposed Scranton City Business Park containing a 351,000 square foot building and a 144,000 square foot building, 3400 block of Oliphant Avenue. I believe we have Andy and maybe some others here tonight to present on that one. So, yeah, if you don't mind, I know it's sometimes a little awkward, but if you can stand at the mic there, just to make sure we pick up everything on the recording.
I'll move it over so you can see my beautiful face. Hi, my name's Andy Baldo. I work for C&B Development. I'm an industrial developer. I've been doing this for the last 20 years. Have done about 15 million square feet of industrial work in eastern Pennsylvania, and about 5 or 5.5 million of that has been in northeastern Pennsylvania, between Monroe County, Carbon County, and Lackawanna County. This is our first time in front of the city, so we're here just to introduce ourselves. My engineer here is Michael Hardman from Schlau Engineering, and we'll just provide you a little bit of details from the sketch plan that we prepared, a little bit of the location, just to orient everybody. It's a 55-acre parcel that's bound to the east by 81, to the north by Boulevard Avenue, and to the south by Oliphant Avenue. It's a triangular piece there. It's an old coal pile, Pagnati zone. We're equitable owners of it. We just started our development process. We're really early in on this, on the design side of this, but just wanted to make an introduction to you guys and see if you have any initial questions. And then after this, we'll do our full land development set. We'll submit it to Casey and Don. Then once we get our review letters back, and as we get closer, we'll come back up and present to you. Is that a fair process, Casey and Don? Is that how we'll work it?
Yeah, and we had a brief, virtual meeting on this some time ago, just to, talk about basics, just so everyone knows. And then they asked to come in and do an informal sketch to start the process, which, as I mentioned earlier, I think is great for, everyone involved, so that we can see, what you're planning, and you can get some initial feedback, which would be valuable.
Sure. So I'll turn it over to Michael to go over some of the details of the plan. And if you have any questions about me or my experience running that, we can circle back to that. But why don't you go over some of the basics of the ins and the outs?
I have a couple of questions. Your proposed city business park, what type of business are you going to try and attract?
It's an industrial warehousing. Actually,
industrial, okay. I mean, all the talk with data centers and stuff. So let's make sure it's too small for that, right?
Well, actually, they do data centers, but I don't do data centers.
Oh, I know, but we make sure they don't turn into them.
No. So I looked through. Can you hear me or should I go back to the mic?
If you can go to the mic, only because they're recording and streaming the meeting tonight.
Feel free to move the poster so you don't have to be behind.
We all have a copy.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Murphy, before I came here, I thought that'd be a question. And I kind of looked through who we rented to in the past, and what industries. So I came with some more traditional retailer suppliers. Think of a Granger warehouse in a 143,000 square foot building. Some industrial supply companies, consumer products, office supply companies for a small warehouse, medical stuff like Cardinal Health, that they have one up in up off of 81, further closer to Carbondale. Contractor equipment supplies that we've leased to in the past. 84 Lumber sometimes does these smaller facilities that, without being rail served, they may or may not be in there. Home Depot sometimes has smaller distribution centers. This is not going to be a big Amazon warehouse. It doesn't have that kind of, square footage associated with it. So we're hoping to attract local, regional guys as opposed to big national players because of the location, because of the size of these buildings. So it's a speculative development. We don't know who's going to be there. This market is really driven by, until you put a shovel in the ground and there's a sure point of when the building's going to be up or operating, nobody's going to sign a lease and take that development risk. So we'll build these things on a speculative basis. It's going to take us however long, the planning module and NPDS permit's 18 months, probably, I don't even know, maybe longer for this. And then construction is 12, 18 months, depending on the time of the year where we start. So that's sort of the time frame. It'll probably be at a minimum of 3 years to where they open the doors to something like this.
Yeah, I mean, because some of those streets there wouldn't attract the trailer traffic, which could be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, our plan, there's a limitation on the one bridge going south, so we will be traveling up Boulevard to Maine, then back down to Boulevard and out to 81, like through Dixon City.
Loop around through Dixon City.
Yeah, we're not going to through the traffic, through
the city.
Scranton, right? That's a correct path, right? Yeah. And we're just looking into all this stuff too, so we're really early on in this.
So you're imagining like 18-wheelers or sort of box trucks that sort of pull up back into those parking?
There could be 18-wheelers, sure,
Okay.
for the big one. The box trucks, maybe for some of the smaller users. This might be a multi-tenanted building, that's how it's designed for the full circulation, because we might have 3 local guys that each rent 50,000 square feet, and they're probably more box trailers, but it's designed to accommodate 18-wheelers too.
You mentioned this is a Colm site, so is it going to require some remediation work?
Well, certainly, we've done a few of these up and down the valley, and so the geotech is key to this. We know there's mines. This is right next to a facility that the Army Corps built, and so we looked at all their data before you entertain this, and they seem to be standard foundation constructions. So it's just moving those piles along, leveling them out. I think we're hopeful we can use all that aggregate. We've done a lot of geotesting on other similar sites, and they're pretty uniform throughout the valley. We worked on one in Carbondale we have 90-foot piles that we're working on. So this is relatively small compared to some of our experience.
What would the height be?
Total building height clear 50 feet, 40? Yeah. 50 feet. Yeah. We haven't done any building design, but it's going to be a Class A space to attract the best tenants, and there's a minimum requirement of clear height inside of 40 plus feet to get everything and all the racking systems that people are currently using. So I'll turn it over to you if you want to just walk through the plan at all.
All right, as Andy had mentioned, my name is Michael Hartman. I'm with Schlock Incorporated. We're actually a design build firm, so I do everything up to entitlements, and then the rest of the company takes over and does the site work, pretty much from the ground down. So what we're proposing is all access will be coming in and out off of Broadway. We'll probably put an emergency access on the Oliphant, just so we can get a secondary access through there. We did a preliminary schematic design, kind of getting an idea of where everything's going to lay out. And then once the snow melts, we can get the surveyor and geotech back out there to start getting some infiltration testing done, knowing where the rock is. And then we can really start laying in where grading is to get the site to balance out. We will have landscape buffers around as necessary. We did look into we are in line with the airport runway, but we're well below the approach for the runway and stuff, so we're okay with that. We're aware we'll need to go through an NPDS permit, we'll need to go through a component 3 planning module and stuff, and it's stuff I've done on other projects, so I'm not worried about getting it done, it's just time to get it done and stuff. So we are looking at the access points, from us to 81 through Dickinson City, evaluating, making sure that everything's good and stuff. So that's pretty much, right now it's just a schematic layout, and as we start developing details, we're working with Casey to make sure there's any approvals or relief that we'll need, we'll work through that.
This is wholly within the commercial industrial zone, is that right? Or
yeah, the site has the small portion to the south is in the light industrial zone, but all of the development's actually in the commercial industrial zone.
Okay. That has 100-foot principal structure height, looks like is the, so you're,
yeah.
okay.
Think about that. We looked into utility capacities and we think we're fine there, but we just started thinking. So we just want to introduce ourselves and introduce the project, and we'll be back when we're ready for more detailed analysis by your engineers.
Yeah, we appreciate that. I think coming sooner than later is always helpful, just so we can get a peek at what you have planned. Any other questions from anybody?
Yeah, so it shows just one access point on there, but you're talking about potentially having a second one on, is it Oliphant Avenue?
Oliphant, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll look to do an emergency access on the Oliphant, but like I said, all traffic will be directed onto Broadway.
All right, and so you can get 18-wheelers like around that road as sort of depicted?
Yep. Yeah, so we're modeling that as we're doing the design to make sure that we can get the access and movement through the site also. So
Yeah.
we'll put together truck turning exhibits and submit them along with our plans.
I know the recycling center's nearby, right off of Boulevard Ave.
Right across,
there too,
yeah.
so presumably they're getting some tractor-trailer traffic as well.
Right. And then I'm sure you've looked at it, but you're then sending the truck traffic, up Boulevard Avenue into Troop and Dixon City.
Yeah, it'll pass through Troop into Dixon City, Broadway to Main, and then back to 180 or 81
Boulevard.
Boulevard.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, and Boulevard Avenue can take, so that whole route there is, I know once you get up to Enterprise Drive that you can fit,
You're up too far. Yeah.
what was that?
You're up too far. They're below that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
They're below like recycling center.
Yeah.
And then on the right-hand side, all that area.
yeah,
Yeah, so there's only two ways in. There's either go out up to Dixon City on the boulevard
Yeah.
and left on Main, or over Parker, which you wouldn't want them doing Parker. Because it's a small street, and it's a tough turn at that light.
yeah, I'm thinking of like going,
Yeah,
they're going past
you're
Shahady
to the other
Brothers,
place,
aren't
yeah.
they, on Boulevard Avenue? Because that's true.
Yeah, I mean, you're essentially going through the residential neighborhoods here to, right?
Correct, that's the path.
Yeah, this is showing the path.
Right. So it's out of our jurisdiction, but I just sort of want to,
I'm sorry.
it's out of our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
We're at a different municipality at that
In
point,
between.
but,
We have to go through the truck counting process and do our evaluation with our traffic engineer and all that kind of stuff. Which I'm not doing.
okay. Yeah, so that would be also interesting to me, like how much traffic are you expecting? Like what's
We'll do a trip count generation plan.
Okay.
We'll share that with the engineer, with you guys, based on the square footage and the use.
Okay, okay. All right. Yeah, I was surprised when I first looked at it that it just seemed like the parking spaces were for like sort of standard sized vehicles. And I couldn't see where an 18-wheeler necessarily could pull up to the,
So we have, along this side, this large kind of yellow rectangle is the apron, so that's where all the truck docks will be. And along this stretch here is where the trailer stores could be. So like this strip of concrete is where the landing gear and all around to protect the vehicle and stuff. So the rest of it around here would be standard parking spaces for employees and visitors.
okay,
So that's why most of the circulation for trucks would be through here or up into here and then back.
okay, okay. Yeah, so it's a big site, it's a big site.
55 acres, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
We think it's a good use of that, blended site, so good tax generation, low impact from your services, no issues. So we try to look for, we look for projects where hopefully the municipality sees the benefit of it, and two, we think where there's a fit for the use.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
There's nothing else, yeah, we appreciate it.
Have a nice
Thanks.
Yeah,
for your
thanks.
time.
All right, item C under new business. This is a recommendation to city council regarding,
The one-way, two-way street.
change a portion of north-south road from one-way to two-way to accommodate the Dunkin' Donuts development. I remember talking a little bit about this, so
Yeah.
feel free to let us know what we're looking at now.
You know what, I did this in a small,
How are you? I'm good.
I did this in a small, because I thought, well, everybody won't really screen their eyes to see it. I'm hoping you can see it this way a little bit better. So it's the back of Stauffer. It's really,
Look at that, my paper.
It's Loop Street and Kaiser.
And I'll ask you, once you, if you don't mind, once you pass these out, if you can go to the mic too, that'd be helpful.
All right, hello, I'm Brent Berger from Quad 3. I've been trying to get this Dunkin' done for about 5 years. COVID hurt us a little bit. PennDOT hurt me a little bit more. But we finally got through the PennDOT permit. That driveway moved at least 3 times since we started the process. This is their latest and greatest right-in, right-out only. Along the road of getting this driveway approved, one of the issues that came up was truck traffic. So the right-in, right-outs are a little restrictive from a truck access standpoint. So we have deliveries, which is really the primary concern for Dunkin'. And although you can request that those deliveries come in a shorter box truck, they don't always come in a shorter box truck. So Dunkin' is a little bigger than the guy selling the coffee, so sometimes it's a little tough to get what you want when you ask for it. One of the recommendations when we did the traffic analysis with PennDOT for the left turns at Loop Street and Stauffer was that we would, the recommendation was that we would request from the city to consider making that, it's about 425 feet of north-south road, two-way, so that we could allow truck traffic, left turns on Loop Street, which would be the appropriate movement off of Kaiser Avenue. To be honest with you, I have a couple other Dunkins where this happens, and we've had this discussion with PennDOT where people come down Kaiser Avenue and they make a very strange left into a right-in only, which causes problems and accidents. So I think their concern is that we would use the movement and the left turning lane that was at Loop Street to appropriately allow people to go into the site and not have to try to do that. Now I can tell you that on Wyoming Avenue in 44, the Dunkin' there, we are still in discussions about how to fix it, even though it's their design that they wanted, and we put the curbs in the way they wanted. People are still making left turns off the avenue across 4 lanes and going into the Dunkin' the wrong way. Cops refused to give them a ticket because the Dunkin' gives money to the fireworks of 44 every year. So that's kind of the way it works. So to prevent that, I think, and the reason they were requesting it was that they just thought it was a safer movement for everybody. And if they use that left turning lane on Loop Street, we had to analyze the amount of cars that could stack on Kaiser Avenue to make the left, and we were well below the numbers because Stauffer isn't, the number of people going in and out of Stauffer isn't what it used to be. It's much more of a warehousing logistics center. It's not the number of employees that used to be in and out of Stauffer. So the request is to make that stretch up to their driveway a two-way road. Obviously, the improvements would have to be done by the Dunkin', to do that. The road's wide enough. Don King and I and John Bush stood there on a very cold day about 3 years ago and looked at it, and it was. We all felt it was the right idea, and I think it makes sense just based on the use and Dunkin' deliveries. We have done the double drive-through in a couple locations, and although it takes traffic off, it still doesn't stop the truck problem, the delivery problem. So we got an NPDS permit. Oh my God, I got it 3 years ago, the NPDS permit. It was sized. This was originally going to be a gas station mini mart Dunkin'. That's how it was originally submitted. Gas station mini mart went away. Eric bought out the other person that was in on that deal. and it's now going to be a Dunkin', and he has a small insurance office that wants to have 4 employees, so it's a 1,350 square foot building on the end of the Dunkin'. He has a friend that has an insurance company that wants to have a presence in Lackawanna County. So, but the Dunkin' is a small store. It's primary going to be, you know, I used to say drive-through was the big thing. Now it's the order ahead, and most people come in and pick it up, and it seems to be a bigger part of the process than the drive-through. We have a pass-through lane. We have we have a double drive-through possibility. I don't know that we're going to need it to start, but we left the room to be able to do the double drive-through and a complete pass-through lane for anybody in the back to go around. It was a project, to say the least. PennDOT, we finally landed on that location, which includes a PP&L pole that's going to cost about $28,000 to move, just to get the decel lane in off of Kaiser, even though currently there's 300 feet of open frontage that people could drive in and out of this space right now, and if nobody ever changed the building, nobody could have done anything about it. So we're curbing all that. There's a decel, 75-foot decel lane, and then a right-in, right-out on it. So, so we put in the request. Again, part of that is based on, we think, common sense, but also what PennDOT talked about of having truck deliveries, and that's why we're requesting it. So we think it's a good project. Eric he just sold off 6, so I think he still has 11 Dunkin' Donuts. He's a very clean and good operator of Dunkin' Donuts. So I think the property will be kept very well. So I'm not expecting any issues there. And we have a lot more grass than we did before. We still have a very large stormwater underground system. But if I didn't want to change that, because then I would have had to change the permit. So the good news is Jerry was kind enough to say, if you leave it alone, I'm going to leave you alone. So I'm not touching the stormwater system. It will be over-designed for what we are paving, because we're paving a reasonable, probably 25% less than we were originally going to pave. So, but that's fine. It makes sense, and we won't have any problems there. So that's our request. We would like you to consider it and hopefully move it on. The road is wide enough there. That's the other thing, Don, we went to look at with John. It's certainly wide enough there. So Labella had done the original review. That's the comments and package I gave back to them so that they could review it. We answered all those, and we now have all the permits. The only thing we now don't have in Scranton is the sewer, although I did get a call from DEP the other day with only 2 comments, and I'm hoping I'm going to get that back very soon. It's only 400 gallons a day, sewer, so it's not a lot of, there's 2 bathrooms, but there's 4 employees in the Dunkin'. And 4 possibly in the insurance company. That's it. So it's a small footprint for a Dunkin' also, and primarily because the business is more drive-through and pick up than it is sit down and eat. So, so that's it. I got, big thing was just to try to get, and again, and you've been at these Dunkin's, right? You've been at all of them. You've been on Davis Street where you can't get in and out, and they're backed up onto Davis Street, and you can't get this and you can't get that. And a lot of times it's the second issue with these Dunkin' sites, because they're small, is that when you do get your Dunkin' delivery, they're often in the way of everything trying to operate at a Dunkin'. So for us, we paved over quite a ways, put employee parking over there so we could pull a truck off to the side, and it won't interfere with any circulation of the drive-through or anybody going in and out of the Dunkin'. So that's kind of primarily why we did what we did. So.
Brent, what happens at the north side of the proposed 2-way where the road then is 1-way again?
So we'd have to do signage there, and I think what we'd probably want to do is stripe that case. I mean, I'm just speaking out loud, but I'm thinking we want to stripe that to make sure it's defined as 1-way. Signage would be key, and we'll do whatever. I mean, there's some standards out there for that, but I think we would sign that pretty heavily. The good news is most of the traffic that would be coming out and going the wrong way on North-South Road, if you want to say that, back towards Loop Street, would only be coming out of that driveway. We're not going beyond that so nobody else could access it. So I think we could control that pretty well. And the amount of trucks and stuff that, I mean, it's really trucks, right? I mean, that's what we saw that day, Don, standing there, and the counts we had, most of it was trucks coming out of Stauffer, and only if they're heading north can they go up, can they go up that north-south road. So it didn't seem to be a heavy traffic area, but I would say we would really be controlling it with signage and
striping.
road stripage. Yeah, that's what I would say would be the best way to do it. Because I think that would make sure nobody's trying to travel the wrong way. And again, there's plenty of road width there. Right off the side of that road, on the Duncan side of the road, you can see the contour lines. It's a little tough to see on a small drawing, but they're really close together. That's a pretty steep drainage swale. There was a lot of work done, again, Don, you might even know this better than I do, but along Loop Street, there was a lot of work done there because there was a drainage problem coming from the other side of Kaiser down through there. So they did a lot of work in that area. We're trying not to touch that because it seems to be working. And we won't add any storm water to that because the underground system we have will be, again, probably 25% larger than it needs to be. So we'll be holding most of that, if you will, and infiltrating it. So that's it. I won't keep you. I know I'm the last guy on the list, so.
Would you be willing to take a stab at a signage and striping plan?
Yes, no, absolutely, absolutely. We can do that. I just didn't do it before we made the request, but I will do it. Yeah, I can look at what we would do. And I was purposeful. I wanted to stop it right at that rear driveway because I don't want the next lot owner to believe, it's anything in his driveway. His rear driveway is way up the street from North-South Road, but he has an open frontage, so he can go out onto Kaiser left or right because he didn't change the building, so he doesn't have to do anything. So, so really the restriction for us is just, they killed us because this thing was in the middle of the property at one point, the right in, right out, and it kept sliding to the right because they kept wanting me to get this decel lane in. So Tom Picarill and I from PennDOT have had several conversations that I just thought it was getting to the point where it was being unfair. I mean, you're trying to punish it because it's a Duncan, right? I get it, right? I understand they're busy, but my God, I can stack 18 cars in here. I'm never going to get 18 cars in there. And if I open the double drive-through, I'm going to stack almost double that in there. So I'm never going to put it out on Kaiser. But in addition, we have a 75-foot decel lane, so we could, plenty of room to keep off the highway. So PP&L has already agreed to move the pole at a cost, obviously, but they're moving the one pole that's in the way. Eric just took down the building. Don, I don't know if did you know that? He took down the building, yeah. So his Duncan's pushing him. I guess there's other people. So, there's a lot of people in this Duncan market looking around Scranton for, I don't know what that is, but there's, people from Jersey and people from all over the place looking. So, so Duncan keeps pushing on him to get finalized. It was good that we had the HOP and the MPDS. So, so we'll try to get this cleaned up and then let them start building. But that's the request. But I'll do this. I will take a shot at the striping and the signage.
I got a question. Like when you're coming on Kaiser Avenue towards this, and you can shoot off on North-South Road, is it one way going into the Stauffer Industrial Park? Which way is the one way now? Going into it or coming out?
No. So when you come down Loop Street, if you came down Loop Street,
no. But if you, I'm talking about when you're on Kaiser Avenue, because this road eventually comes out on, you end up out on Kaiser.
Right, you can only make a right. It goes in, actually, PennDOT would like to get rid of it.
Yeah.
That's their argument. It comes in at like a 45-degree angle into Kaiser.
Yeah.
They're not happy about that.
No, same, that's like they're going towards the city, let's say.
That's it, right.
Right, and you're gonna have a two-way.
No, not all the way out, only up to the rear entrance of the Duncan.
Only the orange
Only
area.
what's in that orange right there.
It's only the orange area.
Yeah, but so once you're there, what do you're in a,
Oh, you're still
No, but-
almost 1,000 feet from Kaiser.
right, but that's, people come the one way, you're gonna have it just two-way for like a quarter mile or something. I know where it's at, but I'm just
400
saying.
feet. So the only reason we're doing two-way there is so that the people going into Duncan, if they want to go south on Kaiser,
Yeah.
and we had to test all these movements with PennDOT and go through all the traffic.
Well, so right now, it's only one way going that way, so no traffic will be coming from the other end towards that.
Correct.
All right, okay.
Correct, sorry, yes, sorry.
See,
That was-
that's
yeah.
why I was mixed up with which way was the one way.
Yes, yes,
All right.
yep. Yeah, so it's only one way, yeah. So, and the idea is Loop Street is considered,
Well, there's a light at Loop. Isn't there a light there now? Is there a light at Loop? A traffic light on
there
Kaiser?
is not a light at Loop Street.
Is there
No,
like is
no.
there a blinker, like a,
No, it's just a stop out onto and a left turning lane off
Oh,
of
yeah?
Kaiser.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought that
yeah,
was-
and we had to test all those movements. So what PennDOT was happy about is, again, instead of people trying to do something crazy, since Loop Street is a designed intersection,
Mm-hmm.
if they want to go south on Kaiser and they come back out to Loop Street, that's a movement that they're comfortable with, that's safe. So that's okay, fine by us. I mean, we started this with a request to have a two-way in and out. That got met with very little encouragement, let's say. They want us to widen Kaiser and put a traffic light in, which, makes a Dunkin', that's a lot of coffee to sell if you're gonna do that one, So yeah, that's the request. Hopefully, you guys certainly can discuss it and make your recommendation, but we just believe it's important for him as a Dunkin' sale, just because we can get traffic going both ways, right? We can capture some traffic going, because if you're gonna go south, if you were going south and couldn't come in here, I mean, he's gonna lose that entire route of traffic, so. All right, thank you for
okay,
your time.
gotcha, buddy. Yeah.
So, Don, refresh my memory. So we approved the project plans for
Yeah,
this.
we're going through the approval process on the project plans, but they've made a request that I would ultimately end up in front of city council as an ordinance to change this portion of the street from one-way to two-way.
Okay.
So that's what's on the agenda tonight, to make a recommendation to council on that change from one-way to two-way.
Okay. And that's typically how that would happen. The planning commission would make a recommendation to city
Yeah,
council, and then
it's up to
city
city
council
council,
would. Okay.
And I'm sure council will ask Reilly for a recommendation on that also,
Sure.
as the city engineer.
Okay. Then we'll look for a motion to recommend changing that portion of North-South Road into a two-way, so we can send that along to city council.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Why don't we do, you want to do roll call for that, Don?
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, great. Good luck.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
We're getting there. Thank you.
Don, so similarly, I know we had talked about also making some changes for the Davis Street apartments, one of the streets there, to make that one-way. Do we also, I mean, is that a recommendation that we need to, I know we talked about it, but I don't think we formally made
Yeah,
a motion for that.
that'll need a formal recommendation at some point also.
Yeah, I think what Don has asked our office is to provide, a traffic study essentially, or a statement, something to back that up. So we'll make that a priority, and we get that on the agenda for next month, would be the hope. They're asking about it, obviously, as their project is relying on it, so.
Okay, sounds good. Then we'll expect that next month. So wrapping up here, just a few items for under general business. One is public participation policy. So Don had handed out a draft here. We don't currently, although we take public comment, we don't currently have a very defined means of doing so. So, what this would do is basically create a means for taking public comment at a specific time during our meeting, whenever someone's here to do that. So this is based off of kind of standard policy, I believe, that the city recommends for most boards and commissions. So if folks had a chance to look at it, we can discuss and put it to a vote tonight. If everybody needs a little more time, that's fine too. We can put it off until another meeting here. But I think it'll be helpful to have this in place so that when we do have public comment, especially a lot of public comment, we've got a good system for taking that.
I have one question. So the first item, resident or taxpayer, does that exclude anyone who is not a resident or taxpayer?
I think that's typically how public comment is taken.
I mean, sometimes we have someone speak on behalf of,
yeah.
right, the developer.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that would be,
Not in the public comment period.
right, not public comment so much as.
Someone representing a developer wouldn't really be, they wouldn't be making public participation. They'd be presenting a plan to us.
Right. So we would still have an opportunity to talk
This is for
to
members
them.
of the audience who want to speak
Okay.
about a plan.
It's like the Davis Street plan. You
Yeah.
can't let those other people speak.
So what about like Geisinger? They're not a taxpayer or a
that's-
resident?
Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking, because we've had people speak on behalf, right, of an organization like that. They're not part of the presentation, they're speaking.
Yeah. I mean, I guess technically they would be a taxpayer too, although they don't pay property taxes if they're paying payroll taxes or other taxes to the city. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, maybe there's different language. Are you suggesting you just want to make sure it's opened up to more people
Well-
to provide public comment?
I think we're going to have a difficult time asking, are you a resident or a taxpayer? If
Yeah,
not,
we could change that to just say any person. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know that we want to limit it to a resident or a taxpayer in Scranton.
Right, that's
Like-
my question.
Like this
Right.
project
Might
we
need to
just
be a little
talked
bit
about
broader.
there, someone from Troop or Dixon City might
Yes.
want to comment on that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think we'd want to stop that.
It also doesn't specifically say any resident or taxpayer of the city of Scranton. So I guess you could just, you reside somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we can certainly, certainly look into that, see if there's some different language that we could use
Okay.
there instead.
And I just had a small comment on 8F. Like, I feel like we can handle if somebody's loud or boisterous, Loud? That's allowed, isn't it? Boisterous, emotional?
Boisterous,
That's
it's
allowed.
a little subjective too, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, again, I think, this establishes rules. Ultimately, it would be up to the chair of the planning commission to
Right.
and make that determination, enforce the rules, and determine whether somebody was being loud and boisterous.
I know, but it just sounds to me like, is that person making us uncomfortable?
You should be able to ask them, like, who they represent or what the purpose of their, they'd like to speak about, that is pertinent to the project.
Right, so they have to sign in, saying.
Yeah, but I mean, when they come up to get to, what is your, request or concern? Make sure it's not just, because a lot of them do that now, and then they go on Facebook and do a big meme about something,
So I think, Jay, to address that piece, I believe there's something in here requiring that the comments be on agenda items only. I'm trying to look and see where that was at.
Yeah, number 7.
Yeah, number 7. Gus, to your point, so you're suggesting we might just strike that?
Yeah,
that
just
it's
strike
a
that.
little
I mean, there's
subjective,
enough
maybe
sort of
unnecessary.
restrictions there, like, they're allowed to make us uncomfortable, They're allowed to yell at us.
So you welcome some boisterousness.
I'm just saying, like, you don't want to say somebody can't speak because they're making us uncomfortable, we don't like being yelled at. Like, they're still allowed to say it,
So as they're not threatening.
On a
Right, as
item-
long as they're not
Yeah.
threatening and, there's other,
basis. On item 4 that says something about a basis for eligibility to speak based off of paragraph 1, or as described in paragraph 1, is that something that we'd want to remove as well? Or should they have a basis? That doesn't necessarily mean they're a taxpayer or resident.
Well, yeah, I would think, I mean, if we removed the requirement that you be a Scranton resident or taxpayer, then, I mean, we'd probably still want to get their name. But yeah, they would, obviously then wouldn't have to state whether they're a taxpayer or a resident, if that wasn't required anymore.
Has the city solicitor reviewed this?
So this came from the law department as
Okay.
their recommendation as a starting point. So that's what I would do. So, I can take these, any of these comments, suggestions, run that by the law department, see what they think, get their suggestion on other language, or they might tell us, no, we recommend you include something in here.
Okay.
Or keep something in here.
yeah, like clearly, to me, that, and number 1, it's an omission, any resident or taxpayer of Scranton. Like, that's what they intended, I would think.
Right.
They would also be the ones that are going to be more familiar with sunshine laws and other laws that govern our business. So, there may be certain things that would need to be in here or not need to be in here, so. But I can take that to them. Okay. Any other thoughts on the proposed policy?
No, I think it's good to have one.
Okay.
When you can't put something there, then if somebody, like, say somebody's from a different town and wants to speak on something, do they have to be a resident of the city or?
Well, I think that's what
That's what
kind
we're
of the
asking.
consensus here was, that we'd like to take that requirement out of here entirely, so that we're leaving it open to anyone who wants to come and provide public comment, they
Yeah,
could. So
okay.
I'll run that by the law department. And
Well, one guy said one time, he says, whatever, he quoted some free speech thing. Remember that? Last
yeah,
year?
I mean, they would be, again, I leave it to the law
No, I mean,
department to tell us what.
I think really,
we do need to allow.
if somebody
we
wants
need
to speak,
allow,
you
but-
pretty much got to listen to them.
I think this is the case for city council, that they do
Yeah.
require. technically require people to
How
be
would
resident.
people be timed?
Well, we could ask, I mean, they do have a timer in here that city council uses. We could.
Yeah.
I'm sure
There is a
use that
timing
timer.
system here that council uses.
Okay.
I mean, in all the years I've been doing this, there maybe been 3 or 4 meetings.
Right, where you've been like, I really wish I had a timer.
You had people limited, but it doesn't happen all that often. And usually, you know ahead of time which meetings are going to be contentious and
Right.
have a good bit of public participation. So in those times, I'm sure we could use the timing system that's
Okay.
built in here.
City council does 5 minutes per speakers.
Yeah.
Meeting gets shut down at 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Right.
They're strict with it.
yeah.
Every meeting, it doesn't matter if it's a contentious meeting or not, the speakers get 5 minutes. That's been in play for years now, going back to, I'd say almost 5, 6. Gannon, on council, and that got enacted 5 minutes, and that's it.
Yeah, so there's a clock on the front of that podium, and there's one up here that the person speaking could see.
So when they're speaking, the clock is right here. I don't know how they control it, but the president, the city council president controls it. As soon as they walk up here, you guys have the clock here, that you're paying attention, you're coincide. And as soon as they walk up to the podium, it gets started. Their city council member, the city council public, they're very good at it now. They're rehearsed to where they go for 4 minutes and they end right at 5 minutes. They don't waste a second, but they do get their time in. Because if they go over 5 minutes, it all depends. That's where the contentiousness comes in. If it's a bad meeting at 5 minutes, I don't even know who the president is this year, but Smurl last year would gavel them down at 5 minutes and remove them. But if it's something that is just a goofy thing that they're talking about, if they go 5 minutes and 10 seconds, they won't gavel them out. They'll start talking over them to tell them that their 5 minutes is up.
Okay.
So that's how city council does their meetings.
Thank you.
And yes, you guys are fresh to us coming to your guys' meetings, but we've been doing city council for years upon years, so I can let you know. And if Donnie has any questions, I can let him know what we do with them.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
Alrighty, then I'll take some of those comments, suggest them to the law department. We'll see what they come back with, and then we'll bring this back around for review. Second item I wanted to mention tonight, I know we've been operating without a solicitor for a little while here. I did hear from Casey tonight. He had mentioned Tom Reilly had someone to suggest to us, but I'll kind of leave that out again to anybody that may a solicitor. Last we spoke to the city, they didn't have any resumes from anybody currently that had an interest in serving as a solicitor for a board or commission. So again, another one of these things that although we don't need a solicitor here every night, when we do need one, it's helpful to have somebody. So and it is budgeted for. It is in this year's budget, so we've got the funds to hire somebody. So, Casey, I'll follow up with you, or if you can follow up with Tom, and let me know who that person is. I can follow up if anybody else has suggestions in the meantime. Send them along. Third and final item I wanted to mention under general business was Jen had brought this up at a previous meeting, just questions around data centers, which I've talked to Don a little bit about. I know there was, a little bit of movement to kind of look at that, but, I do think it's something that we should be addressing, obviously. It may or, Scranton may or may not be the likeliest place to develop a data center, but, as we saw tonight, I mean, there's a plan before us on 50 acres that,
They said the way they're stopping them now, they need their own power source. See, like the PP&Ls and them, right? They can put a substation like near a residential area because they're serving the general public. But the data center is not, so that's how they knock them down in that one area.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, it's a complex issue, of course, but, my two questions tonight, Don, are one, where would a data center currently be allowed, and what zones in our city? Where would that fall? My understanding is there's no specific definition for a data center.
Yeah, I think typically there's a catch-all in the heavy industrial, I think we call commercial industrial in this ordinance, where, use is not permitted anywhere else or permitted here type language usually.
Like commercial industrial? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we used to call our heavy industrial zones.
Okay. And then how is there any effort, like regional effort through SAPA, obviously, we're part of the SAPA planning initiative. Like, how does that impact any of this? And is there any discussion at that level to say?
Yeah, there definitely is. Well, we're at the very beginning of, I don't want to say reconstituting, but getting back up to do a revised or a new comprehensive plan. So that should be going out to bid, I believe, this summer. We're looking to get some state planning money. So that would be the SAPA group, and data centers would certainly be one of the considerations for that whole group. And after that, the next step would be zoning ordinance. We're not going to wait that long, but that is something definitely being considered on a regional basis. The Lackawanna County Planning Commission has been putting together a library of ordinances, data center ordinances. So and we have a couple that we've pulled down from other municipalities to take a look at. It's not the kind of thing where I think we want to reinvent the wheel. There's enough there's enough ordinances out there that I think we could pick and choose the provisions we want. You know, the main thing would be where do we want to allow them? Some of the ordinances do an overlay where it would be allowed anywhere as long as you met all the parameters. 100-acre site, access to power, access to water, or some of the ordinances limit them to certain zones.
And am I correct in understanding that, you know, as part of that regional effort, that use would just have to be offered somewhere across all the participating
Yeah, that would be
municipalities?
correct. That's for any use, it would have to be provided for somewhere within the group of municipalities.
Right. So if it was provided elsewhere, it wouldn't necessarily have to, we wouldn't
Right.
necessarily have to provide a
Yeah.
place in Scranton for
Yes.
that use. I'm just wondering, in the meantime, is there, you know, are there things that we should be doing in the event that a proposal comes before us? Right.
To discuss that, we are starting to work on pulling some of these ordinances and starting to think about, you know, which direction we want to go with this, as an overlay or limiting it to certain zones, and trying to come up with a good set of conditions that must be met.
Do any of them sort of touch on what Jay suggested, like they have to be sort of independent in terms of water sources or power sources, or?
I think we have broad powers to set what the conditions would be.
Okay.
I mean, as long as they're not impossible to meet or extremely unreasonable, then that's the same as saying you exclude them, period.
Okay. So it sounds like we could expect maybe something from you, from the mayor, as a recommendation before, you know, revisiting the SAPA plan in the summer. I think that would make sense, be prudent. Okay. Anything else on that? All right. Any other general business, old business that we missed? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I will share with you, I think we may still need to finalize the meeting schedule for this year. Is that correct, Don? I forget where we left off on that. There were, I know, a couple of meetings. Our November, December meetings always fall around the holidays, so we were looking at some other dates to...
I'm trying to remember how, I think I advertised November and December dates to be announced.
Okay, so it's already, so the schedule's already been advertised?
Yeah, we did an annual ad.
Okay. Would you mind just either forwarding those dates to me so I can send it out to the planning commission, or sending those meeting dates out to everyone just so you've got them on your calendar? All right, I appreciate it. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.